welcome back. It's Nate from Jeep Around Texas. Today we're here with Jonathan and Brittany Osborne from Osborne Holsters, and we are going to install the XRC body armor corner guards. And there's not a whole lot of information out there on YouTube about them, and we're going to struggle through them, but we're going to bring you guys along with us.
We struggle so they won't have to, right?
Right.
Alright, so the first thing we gotta do is pull these little rivet things here off, and they have a little, if you rub them a little bit, you'll see the center has a spot that you can punch with a punch, and then a little chisel. Where'd you get these from?
Harbor Freight. Like $5.
Hey, can't beat it if it's a few time use for sure. So you pop that center in just like that, and we stick that on there, and we can pry it right back out.
Like somebody only watched this part of it.
Yep, that'd be me. Okay, so we turned in late last night, came back the next morning, it's about 40 degrees cooler. But we got the fender up here, we put some tape up here, of course, to keep from scratching up the paint while we're doing it. We used the C-clamps to help us place it to where we don't have to hold it while we work. Lined this front edge up where it looks nice when the tailgate closes. Lined the top up with the change of geometry in the body. We think we got it all lined up. We're gonna mark some holes. We got one here, one here, one here, 4 underneath the fender, 2 down the bottom. The 2 down the bottom, we're gonna wait until we've gotten it bolted up with the rest of the holes. That way we can try and adjust that, make sure that the fender's not gonna get up into the door. So the next thing we gotta do, mark our holes, pull it down, drill, place it back up, and move on from there. Here's a little inside look of what the nutsert looks like once it's installed. It flanges out around the body panel there and pinches.
All right, so what we're doing now is we've already taken our fender off. He is marking the cut line for the fender. We're going to use the cutoff wheel and trim the inner fender for the rear flare. It does help if you trim these I don't know what they are, just the humps. If you just cut them off like that, it allows you to get to your line better. And this is our second side, so we kind of trial and error on the first side. And we learned that definitely getting rid of these will allow your cuts to be a lot cleaner and smoother.
Unless you got a bigger wheel than we do, but otherwise it gets in the way of getting down to it.
So. All right, so we've already trimmed our inner fender and we've kind of deburred it, got all the junk off of it. We are putting 2 layers of tape because 2 is better than 1. And we learned from the other side that it'll be more protective when you're taking the fenders on and off for your mock-up.
An 8-3-1 layer.
All right, so we've got it clamped up. We like where our lines are, and we are marking our holes. And we will come back and drill our holes after we remove the fender off of it.
Okay, so there's 4 holes that you have to find that aren't on the outside. So they're going to use a hex bolt instead of the button head. A little bit different. There's one slotted hole down here, really hard to get to. One in this corner, right about here. One centered, and one in this corner. All of them are hard to get to. This one's really hard to get to.
So what he's actually doing, since those holes are so tight in there and hidden, he's using
Washable paint.
washable children's paint and a tiny little paintbrush to mark the holes. He is now using the center punch to mark all the holes. And then we will go back and drill them out with the 32nd 64
3364.
33/64 drill bit.
Something to point out is this hole that you're going to drill right here, it's actually, there's 2 layers there, so you got to go through 2 layers of it. It's not a big deal, don't be scared. Everything else is one single layer. This one's 2. so that when the nutsert squeezes in, it actually only squeezes one layer, but you still got to go through both. I am using a round file to go in and just take off a lot of the burrs on all these holes. Okay, so this bolt down here on this corner, it's so far back tucked in that it's really hard to get one of these bolts turned in to where you can straighten it up with the nutsert. So what we chose to do on both sides was we went about 4 threads in, put it in the vise, and took the cut blade with the angle grinder, and we just cut a little bit off and smoothed it out with the file and shortened it out a little bit. The main trick that you want to remember to this though is, thanks to Nate, he taught me this, go ahead and put a nut on there first. That way when you're done cutting, you can back the nut out and it'll knock off any burrs.
Also, don't tighten any of your bolts down because you need to be able to move it and adjust it. Sometimes you have to tighten this bolt to be able to get this bolt in, or loosen that bolt to be able to get that bolt in. So just be patient and be ready to cuss a lot. Okay, so when doing your bolts on your
Main fender.
on your main fender, only do the outside bolt first, because eventually you're gonna have to come in, and this is like the outer little skirting thing. You're gonna have to bolt it down right here. So don't put this bolt in yet. This one you will do as you're going through with your button head bolts on the outside little skirt.
Even though your nutsert's already installed.
Even though your nutsert is already installed, correct.
Once you got the fenders on, there's an ender fender. They just use these little plastic push tabs, and holes should be lined up as long as you got this tab and this tab bolted onto the back side of both of these bolts, and you got them positioned correctly. Then you just follow it on up, you push them in, and ender fenders. I'm not super happy with the way it lines up here. I got a little bit of the red still showing. It's not a killer. It's
It's not something that kills the look at all, but you know, could be a little bit wider, a little bit better. Maybe they'll fix that in the future. Take us.
So we figured it was like 14 hours and like 45 minutes to get the flares on. A lot of trial and error, a lot of fitment and refitment, on and off, adjustments, loosen bolts, tighten bolts. Definitely not an easy install. It wasn't super like technical. Just a lot of adjustments and a lot of fitment, and take your time.
The hardest part is definitely lining up all the knots,
Yeah.
nut starts exactly where they need to go, because if you don't get them exactly right, it's a lot of wiggle here and wiggle there, and trying to make it work.
The fitment looks good on them. There's foam that runs along the back here, all the way down. The fitment looks good. He's going to come in and we'll show you in just a minute. We'll bring it in closer and show you, but he's going to do some adjustments on his inner fender flares. What else? Make sure you pull your license plate light through the hole before you bolt everything on. Won't tell you how we figured that one out, but other than that, they look really good. And
yeah, the look's definitely different than a standard Jeep. I mean, you're losing your Jeep look a little bit going with this. It's a lot more geometric looking. So if you're a traditionalist, you may not like it, but it's pretty aggressive and gives you a lot of wheel clearance. I like it a lot.
we'll do a quick walk around for you.